Up next is Alan Montgomery. He's going to be talking about a free press and liberty under attack. Some call it the liberal press. What does that mean? And how did the professional news media get to be so nosy?
Okay. This high-strung person is trying to force a student journalist to stop taking pictures at a public protest at the University of Missouri, but he kept shooting pictures anyway. Some people hate American journalism, but our professional news people just keep coming to work each day and doing their jobs, no matter what. Even if Donald Trump accuses the news media of being lousy and worthless and unfair to candidates, if the TV crews don't spend enough time showing the size of crowds at Trump campaign rallies. Newsmen and women keep coming to work. I'll have to wait for the next slide. Even though Sean Penn says they are failures because they don't do enough experiential journalism like Penn did when he chatted with the murdering drug dealer El Chapo. It's a good picture of Sean. Journalists take pride in their work even when falsely accused of creating cover-ups, such as conspiring with the Bush administration to protect those who really destroyed the World Trade Center on 9/11. It was our government, and those news reporters and editors were all in on it. It's on the internet. News people work hard in Las Vegas, where a hotel billionaire recently bought the state's largest newspaper and tried to force its staff to investigate some local judges he didn't like. Well, the news staff investigated their new owner instead and broke that story nationally. How do I know that reporters work hard? I was one for 18 years, mostly in Kansas daily newspapers. For 14 years, I was at the Hutchinson News as a regional reporter and photographer. Leaving there in 1996, I now teach newspaper production, reporting, and photography at Hutchinson Community College. Here I am, a reporter with Hutchinson News publisher Richard Busby at center and managing editor Roger Verdon in 1988, bringing home some Kansas Press Association awards. Busby and Verdon are the best editors I ever worked with. Roger lives in Lynchburg again now. Okay. So how did I, a farm kid, get into newspapers? When I was a senior in college in 1973, something happened in Washington, Watergate. It was investigated by the Washington Post. I was impressed. I later enrolled at K-State in journalism school and earned a master's degree there. I've always respected our nation, our American flag, and our Constitution. My father, Lowell Montgomery, was a patriot and, in our family, a war hero. He and his two brothers were drafted during World War II. All three survived the war. All served our nation well overseas. My dad, in the center of this photo, was a combat medic in the 91st Infantry Division in North Africa and during the invasion at Salerno. He served in Italy for the entire 22-month bloody campaign. 59,000 Allied soldiers were killed there. 230,000 were wounded. Dad received a Bronze Star and other medals for his service. So I have no patience for anyone who does not respect our Constitution, especially the First Amendment. Too many Americans have died to protect our Constitution and our freedom. I've always considered it a great honor to work in and with American newspapers. And yes, I find it a bit tiresome to hear talk show people like Rush Limbaugh and Bill O'Reilly attack American journalism every day. They rail at the liberal press and the mainstream media, but everything they discuss, they have taken from that day's news reports. So what is the liberal press? What's the origin of that term? It was used a lot by Richard Nixon and his cronies in the months before Nixon resigned, usually to refer to Ben Bradley's Washington Post. Bob Woodward, by the way, is a military vet and a Republican. What are the traits of a liberal press? Standing up to power politicians in Washington? Is that a liberal trait as opposed to a conservative one? We are taught to be respectful of elders, of those in authority. Is it liberal to confront these people and demand answers, to not give up when ignored? Mahatma Gandhi, you might know, was a great journalist who would not give up, even when those in power tried to ignore him. He was a lawyer trained in England, and he was a successful weekly newspaper publisher in his early years as an organizer of strikes and civil rights marches in South Africa and India. In America, where did our journalists get the idea that they can be assertive and pushy with those in power when seeking information for the American public? Where did this behavior come from? Who are the troublemakers who got this started? We all know the history of colonial America. Patriots were weary of oppressive British rule. Newspaper editors published patriots' controversial, some said treasonous, views, and unified the colonies in their quest for independence. Editors were thrown in jail. Others took their places. Benjamin Franklin, as a boy, worked as an apprentice in his brother's newspaper print shop in Philadelphia. Years later, along with James Madison, Thomas Jefferson, John Adams, and others, Franklin believed in a strong, robust press to act as a watchdog over those in power. After winning independence, they created the First Amendment to the Constitution, the most powerful law on earth, to guarantee that American journalists could keep our citizens informed so they could bring about changes that they deemed necessary in our government and in society. So if you want to know why our press is adversarial, why reporters ask so many questions, why do news people take so many pictures, if you want to know who set everything up this way, look no further than our nation's founding fathers. Thank you.